Here now is Senator Bob Corker, Republican from Tennessee, who just met with two White House officials who are in charge of hammering out this tax reform plan. And he said, Senator Corker earlier today, the greatest threat to our nation is not North Korea or Russia or even ISIS. The greatest threat to our nation is our inability to get our fiscal house in order. Senator Corker, welcome. Very good to have you with us tonight, sir.
Thank you, Martha. Always good to be with you. Thank you.
So, you look at that list of people that are included in that dinner this evening, and it's quite clear the president is reaching out across the aisle, as he did with the debt ceiling issue. Why do you say that you believe that our debt is a bigger issue than North Korea or ISIS or Russia?
Well, it's because we have $20 trillion in debt today, and over the next decade we'll add another $10 trillion. And every military leader that we have tells us that, again, that's our greatest threat. Great countries like ours, over time fall if they don't deal with these types of issues, the fiscal issues, the economic issues. On tax reform, what I hope we're going to be able to do, and I'm glad the meetings are taking place tonight at the White House and today here in the Capitol, what I hope we're going to be able to do is generate growth that will help generate income that will help deal with some of these fiscal issues, but we've got to get it right when we do it. I'm all for pro-growth tax reform. We need to make sure when we do it, we are taking into account the deficits and that what we do over time reduce those. But I'm glad the president's reaching out and going to be putting out the effort.
Let me ask you this. When you spoke with Gary Cohn and Steve Mnuchin about that, are they interested in that line of thinking? And was there any discussion about cutting spending or cutting this enormous $20 trillion debt that we have? Are they interested in that?
Yeah, so they're definitely interested in creating growth through tax reform, as I am. And, we're going to be looking at some follow-up numbers over the next couple of days to see, if the assumptions that are being made will work relative to also not increasing the debt. But, Martha, you just hit the nail on the head. There's just no appetite here to deal with the spending side. 70% of what we spend, Martha, is not even part of the budget. It's called mandatory spending. And if you show up, you get it. The fastest growing line item is, believe it or not, with these low interest rates, it's the interest on debt. And so we're not in any way dealing with these issues.
I want to play for you some things that President Trump said on the campaign trail. Watch this.
I would bet you we could save 20% of our budget.
We will also have an efficient and responsible federal budget. No more waste, no more throwing away taxpayer dollars.
My theme today is 5 words: under budget and ahead of schedule. That's what we did.
We're going to win today, and we're going to Washington, D.C. to drain the swamp.
So these are ideas that resonated with a lot of people across this country, and I think there's a lot of folks out there, and maybe you're among them, who are very concerned that the President Trump that we heard in those sound bites that is not involved in this particular version of tax reform. Is that true or not?
Well, what happens, Martha, look, I'm all for cutting waste and being more efficient, all for it. But the big money, and let's do that, but what it really says to Americans is there's an easy way out of this. All we have to do is cut the wasteful spending in Washington. Well, the fact of the matter is, Martha, 70% of the spending that we do is, again, mandatory spending. It has nothing much at all to do with waste. It has to do with the fact that we've got this huge demographic group of people coming through the system that are participating in this. And the fact is that during the presidential race, neither candidate really wanted to ever address that issue because it involves changing things. It involves
Well, I think a lot of people wanted to see a shakeup, and that's what they feel they voted for, and they're going to watch this process to see if they get that.